There is a specific sound that if you didn't grow up in the 1970s, you will never truly understand its weight. It's the rhythmic clicking of a bicycle chain on a dirt path, the wind whistling past your ears, and then a sudden, heavy silence when the first street lamp flickers to life in the twilight. At that moment, an invisible border was established. The streetlights turning on wasn't just a signal for dinner time. It was the end point of a day of absolute freedom, and the start of a silent pact between you and your parents. You could go anywhere, do anything, as long as you were home. But have you ever wondered, behind that raw freedom, how your brain was being programmed? Welcome back to our channel. Today, we aren't just talking about mere nostalgia. We are going to deconstruct the psychological architecture of a generation forged by autonomy. We're talking about the children of the streetlights, those who carry a unique nervous system, one that is incredibly resilient, yet bears hidden pains that sometimes even they cannot name. Let's travel back in time to understand why you are this way. If you look at a child in the 1970s, you are looking at an autonomous entity. You left the house without a phone, without a GPS tracking device, and most importantly, without constant adult supervision. Your safety lay in your own judgment. In terms of psychology, this was the perfect environment to develop what is called an internal locus of control. You learned that if you got lost, you had to find your own way back. If you fell into a ditch, you climbed out. You had no help button to press. Consequently, your brain developed a powerful executive function through necessity and trial. When no one told you what to do next, your brain was forced to plan, assess risks, and solve problems on its own. Think back to the times you climbed a tree far higher than allowed. There were no warning signs, no rubber mats, just you and gravity. As your hands shook and your feet searched for a steady foothold, your system was performing calibration. Every scrape on your knee, every painful fall where you had to dust yourself off alone, taught your amygdala real danger. It taught you what manageable fear felt like. This is why, as an adult in crisis situations, you are the calmest. You are no stranger to instability, because you grew up with it. However, this independence didn't just bring strength. It also sowed a seed of solitude that we often mask with a beautiful name: strength. In psychology, this is hyper-independence. For a child of the 70s, admitting you needed help was often seen as a weakness, or simply a futile gesture, because no one was there to help anyway. You learned to internalize your pain, processing emotions like bandaging your own wounds. You became experts at enduring. But what is the price of that endurance? It is an invisible wall between you and the world. You believe that the world is not safe enough to lean on, and survival means never becoming a burden to anyone. This creates a massive paradox as you enter midlife. You can take care of everyone. You are the pillar for family. But when you yourself are exhausted, you don't know how to speak up. You stand under your own streetlight, wondering why, despite doing everything right and being so resilient, you still feel a void that cannot be filled. Let's dive deeper into another specialty of the 70s that the modern world has almost completely eradicated: boredom. If you grew up in that era, you'll remember those long Sunday afternoons when the TV only had a few grainy channels, and your parents were busy with their own tasks. No smartphones to scroll, no push notifications to hijack your attention. The only answer you'd get when complaining "I'm bored" was, "Then find something to do, or I'll find something for you." And so, you had to save yourself. You started taking apart an old clock. You wrote rambling entries in a diary, or you simply lay on the grass watching clouds change shape. Neurobiologically, these moments are when the default mode network is active. This is the breeding ground for creativity, self-reflection, and identity. While today's children are bombarded by stimuli, keeping their brains in a passive state, you are trained to be the active architect of your own inner world. Because of this, you possess a capability that many young people crave: deep focus. You can sit for hours with a book, or completing a meticulous task without feeling restless. Your dopamine reward system was set to slow mode. You understand that good results take time, and waiting isn't a punishment. It's a part of the process. But this very calibration for slowness and depth is exactly what makes you feel out of place in the digital age. You look at the world today, a world of 1.5-second short videos, of emotions being broadcasted live every minute, and you feel a weary exhaustion. Why does everything have to be so loud? Why has privacy become such a luxury? To you, the value of a person lies in what they do when no one is watching, not in what they perform on a screen. This conflict isn't because you are outdated. It's because your nervous system was designed for sustainability. While the current world is designed for fast consumption, this difference is often misunderstood as emotional detachment. Others might see you as cold or distant when you don't overreact to shocking news or when you don't share every thought. But in reality, it's because you are processing internally. You are using the filter forged in the 70s to distinguish noise. However, there is a wound we must honestly face. The children of the streetlights often carry a curse of Stoicism. Growing up in an environment where adults didn't focus much on a child's emotions, we learned to self-regulate excessively. It wasn't because they didn't love you, but because life then demanded survival over empathy. We became experts at problems. We are great at solving other people's problems, but clumsy at handling our own pain. We can fix a broken faucet, or lead a business through a crisis, but we don't know how to tell our partner, "I feel very sad today, and I just need a hug." The independence of yesteryear, which was once the armor protecting you from a risky world, might now be becoming the iron cage, preventing you from touching true intimacy. How do we find peace now? The answer doesn't lie in trying to change yourself to fit the frantic rhythm out there. You don't need to be louder to be heard, nor do you need to expose your inner soul to prove you exist. Your greatest strength is silence. The silence you learned in those solitary afternoons long ago. But it is time for you to allow a new calibration. Understand that independence is a survival skill, but interdependence is the pinnacle of maturity. You've spent half your life proving you can take care of yourself. Now, the hardest but most meaningful exercise is learning how to lay down arms. When you feel exhausted, try, just once, not to process internally. Try saying one simple sentence: "I'm not okay." That is not a sign of weakness. It is the courage of someone who is strong enough to no longer fear being vulnerable. The world of the 1970s is gone, and it will never return in the same form. Those old lampposts may have been replaced by smart LEDs. The dirt paths are now paved with smooth asphalt. But the wiring that era installed in your mind is still there. It is an anchor amidst the digital storm. It gives you the ability to look through the trivial and cherish what is lasting. Don't try to escape that child from years ago. Integrate them. Keep the resilience, the patience, and the self-control, but open a door for emotional connection. You no longer have to race against streetlights to get home before you're in trouble, because home, in its deepest psychological sense, is the place where you can strip off the armor of strength and be loved for who you truly are, not for what you can carry. Thank you for joining me on this reflective journey back in time. If you saw a reflection of yourself in these stories, please share your memories of those streetlights in the comments. Your stories are precious pieces that help us all heal and understand one another. If you found these psychological insights helpful, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We have many more deep conversations ahead on the journey of inner discovery. The streetlights are on, and you've made it home safely. It's time to rest. But wait, why does your mind still crave the quiet, even when the world is screaming? It is because of your nervous system. It was built on a foundation of presence, not performance. You don't need to perform your life. You just need to live it. As we close this chapter, look at your hands. They have fixed, they have held, and they have survived. They are enough. Your value never depended on how much you could endure alone. It was always there, in the quiet spaces of your soul. The world keeps rushing, but you have the power to stay, to breathe, to remember the boy or girl under the streetlight. That child is still with you, proud of the person you've become, proud of your strength, but waiting for your peace. So, take a deep breath. Let the digital noise fade into the background. Your internal calibration is your compass. You don't need to prove anything anymore. You've already survived the hardest parts. Now, it's time to live. Cherish the slow moments, the long walks, the deep conversations, the things that don't fit into a 1-5-second clip. Because those are the things that make life worth living. Those are the things your 70s childhood prepared you for. Depth, substance, resilience. These are your gifts to a world that has forgotten how to wait. Share these gifts, not through performance, but through your steady presence. Be the anchor for someone else. But remember to let someone be an anchor for you too. This is the integration of your story. The journey of inner discovery never truly ends, but it becomes more beautiful when you stop walking alone. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening to The Silence with me. I'll see you in the next video. Rest well, child of the streetlights. You are home. You are loved. Goodbye for now.